Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Wayward Dragons review episode.
Yes, welcome.
I'm Johnny, question mark?
I was like,
Questioning
Mr.
that. Also dying of freaking allergy issues, apparently.
Him and I had like what you guys have like last week, and even it's horrible. It's just like all in your face, and you feel like you've gotten like punched, like right in here in your sinuses.
Yeah, but we're gonna take it, we're gonna muddle through.
Yes, we soldier through. We keep going.
For those of you who are new, on off weeks, we take it, and every other week we have our regular podcast,
Yes.
which would have been last week and
Yes.
next week. And on the off weeks, we take it and do reviews on books and stuff that we've been reading, things that we've listened to. If we discover a new album, new artist, we'll talk about that.
Yes.
TV shows, movies, all that jazz. Basically, just to get our banter out of the way. So I like to refer to this as our sides. And I actually wrote this in our notes, which is why Kelsey's laughing. But I like to refer to this as our sides, and then our regular episode I refer to as our meat and potatoes.
Yes.
Yes. Which is for our non-American listeners. I don't know if it's a saying elsewhere in the world, but it's kind of a thing here. By the way, welcome to our new Canadian and Australian listeners.
Yes, welcome. Welcome.
It's a shit show. That's especially this episode. Our other episode is more tamed down. We used to do them all in one episode, but we kind of split it up, and this is more of a shit show. The other one's more tamed down.
Yeah.
So that being said, Kelsey, have you been reading anything good?
I did. Okay. So I'm still making my way through the Pendergast series by Lincoln and Child, and I've hit the point where the books are now 20 plus hours. So I'm on the 6th one, I think. It's called Brimstone. I'm not quite finished with it yet, but it's like hugely occult. Basically there's these murders that happened in New York, like that, not to get gross, but like the body like heats up from the inside. But then like the crosses and stuff, like the religious artifacts that the people are wearing are burning into their skin. And then the crime scene smells like sulfur, and then there's like burned hoof prints in the floor. It's like super weird. And Special Agent Pendergast is known for like getting into super weird cases. So he obviously starts into these two, but you find out that there might be possibly dealings with the devil. Like these people might have made deals with the devil. I'm about halfway through, so I don't really know. But have you watched the show Bones before? Have you ever watched that?
I watched it back. My whole family watched it back pretty religiously when it came on originally. Whatever year that was, and then I think after the 4th or 5th season, we stopped watching it.
So, do you know that that's actually based off of a book series?
Yes.
So I stumbled upon that book series unbeknownst to me. The first book is called Deja Dead by Kathy Reichs, Reichs. So the book actually takes place in Canada. And it's just like the show. She's a forensic anthropologist. Her name is Tempest Brandon, but obviously she goes by Tempe. But in the show, she's called Brendan. And it's just like in the show. She's, my way or the highway, and I'm gonna figure out who did this type thing.
It's actually based off of like
the author,
loosely based off actual people, and it's funny. I remember when the show was out, they had on our local news station, they had the author and the guy who was the, FBI agent.
Yeah, who was in Buffy for the Vampire Slayer back in the
Right. Well,
day.
the actual person.
Oh, the actual FBI person, not the person in the
Yeah,
show.
and
Gotcha.
let me tell you, he looks nothing like.
Yeah. So I've started the Tempe Brandon series unbeknownst to me. I did not know that I started this. When I went to log in on Goodreads, they're like, "This is based off the show," and I was like, "What? This is
Yep.
kind of cool." I didn't realize that, but it's always, for me, it's always interesting to read true crime books that are set in other countries. Um, just because obviously they do things different than we do here in the States. So to like read about all that from a different point of view, that was actually kind of nice. Um, I can see honestly where it got made into a TV show. It's actually there. It was a pretty good book. Um, the book is obviously gory. I mean, it's the first book is this sexual sadist, basically. Um, will somewhat give it away, but basically the killer in the book, his mom had an abortion and it went wrong, and she unfortunately passed away from that. And when he got to a certain age, he started to kill people. He had an affair with someone and killed that person. But that kind of like unlocked a lot of things. But like his main thing was he would mutilate women's sexual organs. Um, Very graphically.
Yeah.
I won't describe it, but book is not for the squeamish. Not for the squeamish. Um and then I read The Keeper of Lost Causes. It's translated by Lisa Hartford. So it takes place in Denmark, and it's how they start up it's their equivalent of a cold case unit. So the books are called Department Q, and it's this guy as he goes through all these cold cases. Basically, I want to say it's Denmark. His first case is about a political person. She goes missing, and it's told through both her eyes and his eyes. So she gets kidnapped, and by these, how do I want to put this? She does get kidnapped, and who she gets kidnapped, I won't spoil who kidnaps her, but it links into what happens to her as a child. She gets into a car accident and her parents die, and it leaves her brother mentally handicapped. And her kidnapping and going missing links back to the car crash that she was involved in when she was a child. So, but as I've said, I like reading books where they're with different police departments, just because I get kind of tired of reading the same old of
Right.
detective novels that are based here in the States. Because I kept finding like further books into the Detective Q series, the Department Q series. So I finally found the first one. And I will say it does not translate because it's translated. So it doesn't translate well all the time, because there are like certain scenes where they're just talking in whatever language that is, and it's not translated, so you're like, what the hell just happened? um and then I also continued my romantic paranormal series called The Unholy, which it takes a
When you
different
say
turn.
romantic, it sounds like you're talking about
That's what it
smut.
says on the cover.
Is it smut? Because typically romance is just smut.
So there's normally like there's one spicy scene, and then that's it. Everything else is like innuendoed. Yeah. It says Graham stands at the top of the romantic suspense category. It says it right at the bottom.
That just sounds like it's a whole will they or won't they.
like
Like, just
like
like the whole book is just nothing but sexual tension until you find out whether they hook up or not. That's what that sounds like to me.
that's honestly what happens. There's a lot of tension, and then about 3/4 of the way through it finally happens, and then everything else at that point is like an innuendoed type thing. But I
Uh,
read, yeah, I'm okay with it. But it's Unholy by Heather Graham. It's like book 6 or 7 in the, I forget what that series is called. But it takes place in Hollywood, at an special effects studio, and so there's a lot of like magical illusion that they talk about, because it's a special effects, it's an illusionist place. So
Right.
like, how did they, oh, here's my lovely orange buddy. You want to say hi? You're not, this is not your show. This is not your feature right now. You got to come back
It's
for
the
that.
Cat and Cat Show featuring Cat and other cat.
Yeah, I was like, your feature, you cannot walk in front of the microphone, honey. Okay. This is my life right now.
I mean, it could be worse, right?
There. Is that better? That's better. Anyway, before I was really interrupted. But yeah.
You weren't interrupted. You were blessed by the cat.
He was doing this earlier and he fell off my desk. But like took like a whole bunch of stuff off my desk with him. But yeah, that's the 3 I have finished. I'm almost done with Brimstone. And then I've also started like this weird Atlantis series. So
yeah.
I don't know how that's gonna go. But yeah. So what did you read?
Oh boy. So as of now, I am 18 books into my 52 book goal for the year. So I'm probably going to end up boosting those numbers up because, Dim's rookie numbers.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
the
they
past
are.
2 weeks, I've read 6 books.
Yeah.
So first off, I'm going to go with the most recent book to just get it out of the way. I read the complete works of Edgar Allan Poe because I like to sneak some classics in there sometimes. And I've only read like bits and pieces of Poe here and there. I've never read his complete works. And ooh boy. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love a lot of the poems and stuff that I have read.
Yeah.
But I was a bit previous to this, but I was a bit disappointed because I can see why those are the ones that are out there.
Yeah,
for
like the most
people is because they're kind of the best ones. Not to knock on classics. And as I've said plenty of times before, I evaluate things and take things in the context and in the time period and in the world that they exist.
Yeah, and you have to.
But there is a lot of language and imagery that still not cool with.
Yeah.
They dropped the N word a few times.
Yeah, you have that.
And it was just a lot of it was kind of off-putting and inappropriate, in my opinion. And the sad part is, like I said, a lot of things that I found inappropriate weren't even the things that people of the time that said that his writings were inappropriate found inappropriate.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff that they said was inappropriate at the time, I was like, okay, that's a cool little quip.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a thing. I'm glad I did it, but I was, like I said, disappointed on a lot of them. I do, however, think I found my favorite Edgar Allan Poe short story.
Okay.
Which is Dr. Tar and Professor Feather.
Okay.
Because I kind of picked up what was going on with it early in it, but it was just freaking hilarious how it played out. So that was one. The other 5 books I read were actually I have a very different opinion on.
Okay.
They're actually 5 parts in a series called Sentenced to Troll.
Okay.
I was so freaking hooked on this series that I actually wrote the author and asked him, because there's only 5 out right now, and I asked the author when the next one was coming out. And he was both impressed and concerned that I finished the first 5 books in 4 days.
I've done that. I've totally done that. So there's a series called Spook Show, and I did that. I read like 10 in like a week. So I get it. I've totally been there.
Well, so I think this is technically a new genre,
Okay.
but it's a genre it's referred to as lit RPG, and it's, I'm assuming it's a new genre. I had never heard of it till recently, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. As always, my review will hold a small amount of spoilers. So the basic plot is it's set in the near future, where the main character was a video game streamer, and he got arrested and goes to court for cyberbullying and basically just being a dick. It's
Okay.
not his first offense, so instead, and he could face up to a year's worth of jail time. Well, his parents, who he's kind of estranged from because they've ignored him most of his life, and they're rich and powerful people, they pull some strings and get him involved in this trial of his game. This VR game that's got full submersion. Like, they put you in this pod, you're covered in nanites, and anything that happens in the game, your body actually feels it.
Okay.
So this is kind of like a therapy thing that they're trying to put him through, behavioral therapy. Uh, they started experimenting previously with a bunch of convicts, so he's in there with 24 hardened criminals.
Jesus.
And they all, like any RPG, you pick your race, your class, and all of that.
Yeah.
But part of his sentence is, since he wants to be a troll online, he can only choose to be one of the races of trolls.
That is fantastic.
And which in itself is a troll. But so they are the most hated of the races, and people actually like hunt the trolls, and the trolls are near extinction because people constantly kill them and attack them.
Yeah.
So he goes on this grand adventure. I don't know if these books are in print. I listen to them on Audible, partly because you can get the first 3 books for a single credit.
Okay.
The book is very much like an isekai for anime fans, if you know what that is. For those of you who don't, it basically means you get transported to another world. Uh, but I highly recommend this to anyone who is a fan of RPGs, isekais, and or high fantasy.
Okay.
Great fun series.
I did look it up on Wikipedia. So the genre/word was introduced in 2013.
Okay, so it is newer.
Yeah. Yeah. According to Wikipedia, it got introduced in 2013.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I literally have never heard of it until this book, and kind of like bounced around to look for a few other things.
Yeah.
So speaking on nerdy shit, I've also recently been watching an anime called The Vampire Dies in No Time.
Okay. Where can you find this show/anime?
So I watched this on Funimation. It's probably
Okay.
other places too.
Okay.
Because I'm a loser and have Funimation.
You're not a loser, but okay.
But anyhow, so basically, what's the show about? Well, it's about a vampire that dies in no time. But for real, it's about a vampire hunter named Ronaldo, who is super famous and writes books on his exploits,
Okay.
and all these people love him. He goes to take out what is supposedly a total badass vampire named Draluk. Apparently, Draluk started the rumor and to make people leave him alone from his mansion.
Okay.
It also brought up tourism in the city, but he is a total pushover of a vampire and actually spends most of his time just chilling and playing video games and hanging out with his familiar, an armadillo named John.
Solid.
Yes,
That's
a
awesome.
vampire with a familiar that's an armadillo.
That is awesome.
So, like I said, the kicker is Draluk. Literally, he's just constantly dying, but he comes back. So he's not dead. So like you can like karate chop him and he'll just die and turn to ash. But after a while, he comes back. It's a comedy anime.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, because of some
Okay.
mishaps, Ronaldo burns down Jerluke's mansion, and Jerluke ends up moving in with Ronaldo.
Okay.
So it's like a whole weird buddy cop situation because the two of them team up to take out other vampires.
Okay.
And it's like I said, it's weird and funny. There's actually a episode because all the vampires, they're not like just straight like Dracula type vampires. There's all sorts of weird, like I'm a vampire and I have this power. To the point where there's an episode where there's vampire produce, and how they get rid of the vampire produce is because the vampire produce bites other produce and turns it into vampires. They throw some garlic in the kitchen with the vampire produce, and the vampire produce bites the garlic, and then the garlic becomes vampires, and the garlic bites the other produce and turns it back into, like, kills it because vampires are allergic to garlic.
Oh my god.
Like I said, super fucking dumb show, but it's really entertaining. It's been helping me unwind and, you know, deal with all sorts of stress and
No, I got you. That is
yeah.
great.
Yep.
That
What
is
about you?
awesome.
Have you been watching anything? I know you're a huge avid TV person.
I was like, I watch the same shows all the time. Like the new season of Kindred Spirits is out, so that's my Friday. No, so I changed my subscription boxes. So I had like an herb one for a really long time, for a hot minute, and then I came to the weird realization that I don't have enough time to be doing these right now. So I found a new one, and you can get this on Cratejoy. But I basically Googled like best witch themed subscription boxes, right? Because that's what I do. I'm the queen of subscriptions. And I found one called Witchy Roots from Cratejoy. And I'm going to show you this because I think it's actually kind of cool. So, where's the. So, she sends you like what's in the box in this very nice letter.
Tiny print.
It's super tiny writing. Like, I can barely read
it's like
it.
7-point font.
Yeah. So this box for this month is a traveling altar. So she helps you kind of start making the steps of having a traveling altar. So like I've got, where's this? Gia Mint Ritual Herbal Tea. So helps you kind of unwind and stuff. And then this beautiful, it's for mustard seeds, and she actually like includes a nice decent bag of mustard seeds, but I thought that would be cool to like paste into a grimoire because it's beautiful. And then there's also other names of the earth goddess in different religions.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So I thought that was actually really cool, like Demeter in Greek, and stuff. So she includes that, and then like a bag to put in whatever you want to travel with you. A rose magical anointing oil. So it's got rose, sandalwood, and vanilla oils, but it's also got a rose quartz chips in it. I don't think you can see it from the angle. You can kind of see all the stuff up in there. So that's included, and then there's a eucharyte, Unakite. So she includes that stone. There's incense. There's this lovely velvet bag to put your altar in. This mother goddess.
That's really cool.
Thing. So she's going to go hang out with my Buddha that I have. And then she includes a tarot card. I don't know if every single box has a different one. So that's the one I have. And then there's a spell candle in here. It's green. I don't really know what I'm doing. That's one of the reasons why I started this podcast, is I legit don't know what I'm doing. So I thought this was actually kind of cool to kind of help me get a little bit better at practicing things, especially on like a smaller scale. But like the candle is for to help you feel gratitude in your life and stuff like that. So I thought that was cool, but I also thought the artwork was actually extremely beautiful. Like that is just the mother. She is just she is very pretty.
I really like that.
But I mean, it's super tiny font, all of them. So I know that's what I've been doing is I've been going through this bag. Like I'm gonna put like the rose oil in our bedroom because I have an incense burner in our bedroom. Stuff I'm trying to make our bedroom like a sacred space in a weird way. But yeah, that's what I've done. I haven't watched TV shows. I got a new subscription box. Because I mean it's $35 for that box. The herb one that I was getting was about $50.
Yeah.
So I mean it's a little bit cheaper, but I just thought it's really cool. She kind of helps you travel, like be witchy and kind of help you along in your practice, especially if you're new like I am into this journey.
Yeah, no, that's really cool.
So yeah, I thought that was cool.
So I think that wraps up all of our reviews. I don't think I've watched anything else new.
Mm-mm.
I did recently watch The Room, which is apparently a cult classic, and don't watch it.
Okay.
You would not enjoy it.
Okay.
You would not enjoy it.
Okay. I'm gonna trust your judgment.
I have an ace friend who said it best when he said, if you weren't ace before watching that movie, I don't see how you can't be after watching the movie. It's really bad.
Okay. Yeah, I trust you. Okay.
Yeah, no, don't watch it. I get why it's a cult classic because it's so bad, but it just is not that great of a movie. I might have to watch it again in a different setting.
Okay.
I don't know. That's bad. Okay. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. That's all I've got.
Yeah. I was like, our normal episodes, we're kind of going through a familiar animal magic, spirit animal kind of mini series.
Yep.
So kind of talking about the difference between all three, because there's some confusion, I think, between a lot of those. So
if you haven't tuned into last week's episode yet, for our meat and potatoes, it was on familiars and stuff like that. And then next week, our episode is going to be on spirit animals and stuff like that you work with, animal totems. Talking about how they're different, what similarities they have, what some people think they are, all that jazz.
Yes. Yeah.
So until then, don't forget to like, rate, review, subscribe, tell people, all those things.
Yeah. Yeah, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram. We do have a YouTube. The videos that are on YouTube, the hands that you see are my hands. I'm the one that has all the subscription boxes. That is my addiction. So join us. I do post pictures and stuff that go along with our episodes occasionally. So far, not the last one, but the one before that, we talked about grimoire. So there's pictures of Johnny's actual grimoire in there. So yeah. Yep. So until next time.
Bye.
Bye.